Like I said, as an independent journalist, I'm open about my politics. I'm a leftist. I'm on the left. And the Central Coast is known for having quite a conservative streak. Anybody outside of California, never fool yourself into thinking it's all one state, that it's all Hollywood and the Bay Area. We have millions and millions of people here and tons of area in between. Rural areas, and the rural-urban divide very much exists here in California, and it's different areas. But here on the Central Coast, we do have a strong contingent of conservatives. I did some coverage a week or two ago, about a bunch of MAGA people, Trump supporters, storming the San Luis Obispo County Supervisors meeting. They didn't storm it in like a January 6th situation. I mean, they just clogged hours and hours of public meeting time with conspiracy theories about the election fraud, vaccine passports. What are they going to do with the vaccine passports and all that stuff? But believe it or not, this stuff actually made it to, of all people, Rachel Maddow. Now, I'm no Rachel Maddow fan, but I do think it's remarkable when your local area gets onto national news. And this was shared by Slow Street Medics. I have interviewed Slow Street Medics before. They do a lot of care for the unhoused community in Slow, and they started out, doing street medicine during the resurgence of Black Lives Matter last year. But let's listen to what Rachel Maddow kind of was talking about happening here in Slow. It was that meeting I was talking about.
San Luis Obispo County, California, opened the phones to public comment at their meeting a couple of weeks ago. And what they got was hours of callers who wanted to talk about the 2020 election in their county, the one from November, and specifically about the county's chief elections official, a man named Tommy Gong.
From the evidence I've seen, I believe this machine was used to alter the vote counting in this county, and we need an independent forensic audit to verify its accuracy. Tommy Gong is using every excuse available to prevent an audit, giving his assurance that the count was 100% accurate. A similar machine was audited in Outram County, Michigan, and found to have so many problems that the auditor declared that the election should never have been certified.
Why isn't he concerned? In Michigan, the judge ordered the forensic audit of the Dominion machines be made public. The audit proved Dominion machines are designed to be manipulated. Modem chips are embedded in the computer motherboard, which means there is hidden Wi-Fi access to change votes. In Wyndham, New Hampshire, an audit showed their Dominion machines were all preset through the USB stick.
I have lost confidence in our election process, partly due to the voting machines. We want Tommy Gong to remove them and also have them audited. If not, we need to have Tommy Gong removed.
Is Tommy Gong in any way in relationship to the Chinese Communist Party?
There, you heard it. So Maddow goes on, but we don't need to hear more from her. But yeah, so Tommy Gong, we should add that he is a person of Chinese heritage, I believe. So really quick.
We want the voting machines audited. We want a forensic audit because of the modem chips in the motherboards with the USB jibber jabber planted there by China because our...
Jesus.
Is someone messing with the Wi-Fi?
Oh, great. There's an ad.
I can't stream my meeting either.
I can't connect to anything. Our whole presentation is...
There's an ad in this video. Jeez.
County clerk is a secret member of the Chinese Communist Party. We need him gone, too. For the record, the county clerk, San Luis Obispo County's top elections official, is a third-generation American citizen who has worked in the county clerk's office for more than 15 years. But here's Trump supporters in San Luis Obispo County, California, saying they suspect he must be controlled by the Chinese Communist Party.
Fun stuff. So, so that's what is going on here on the Central Coast. San Luis Obispo County, I believe during 2018, it was one of the first times in a long time that the county voted in majority for the Democratic representative, the congressional representative. That was also repeated in 2020 election. But before that, SLO County as a whole voted Republican in majority. And so you can see there's this kind of attitude, and you see clearly the racism tied to a lot of stuff, the conspiracy thinking, and so much of this belief around the election, the Michigan and the Dominion voting machines and the USB sticks and the Wi-Fi and the SIM cards and all this stuff, it goes back to very few people. But one of them is Sydney Powell, right? The Release the Kraken lady, right? And she's actually coming to the area. Sydney Powell, Joe Arpaio coming to SLO County for California Secession Group's event. This is in the San Luis Obispo Tribune. Once again, I have nothing but good things to say about Matt Fountain, reporter here. So Sydney Powell is going to release the Kraken on SLO County, I guess. And this group I've talked about before is a right-wing secessionist group. They really believe that they are going to, I don't know how much they really believe it, but definitely they raise a lot of money on it. They are going to, they think they can form a state within a state. So let's explain a little in the story. Let's read this. A far-right group that seeks a, quote, new California state will return to the Central Coast late this month for a 2-day fundraiser featuring allies of former President Donald Trump, including the lawyer who pushed baseless conspiracy theories about the 2020 presidential election and the man who calls himself, quote, America's toughest sheriff. This is Joe Arpaio. New California State says on its website that the 8th Constitutional Convention will be held May 26th and 27th at the Thousand Hills Ranch in Pismo Beach, a private venue that also hosted the group in October, as well as a fundraiser for Congressman Devin Nunes in 2019. According to the group's website, members believe the current state of California is, quote, governed by tyranny and seeks to, quote, reestablish and restore our constitutional freedoms, following the same process as West Virginia to establish their statehood. Yeah, so they are really trying to do, this is one of those split up California things, though I wonder how much of the state they actually want. Californians are fleeing the state at record levels, the group's website says. Taxes on everything, escalating prices, too many regulations, constant attempts against our Second Amendment rights, forced vaccinations, that hasn't happened, a horrible education system, and the list goes on and on. Our state government is operating like a dictatorship, not constitutionally. The group says, quote, New California is a new state in development exercising its constitutional right to form from the state of California as codified under Article 4, Section 3 of the United States Constitution and the United States Declaration of Independence. Attendance to the Pismo Beach event ranges from $150 to $500 per seat at each of 8 different speaking engagements and, quote, conventions over the 2 days. Now this is where I think that they really need copy editor here. Now following the 2020 elections, the need for new California state is now the epicenter of saving the union. The group's about the event page reads, the United States is not banana republic like you find across the world in third communist countries. We are a republic. There is no punctuation between that. And we the people are going to keep it. Come and participate in the process to save the union and change the world. Wow. Well, for 99 in the comments, Drew Rice says, LMAO, the whole California exodus is so overplayed and just lying with statistics. I did a video on it showing how data doesn't support it at all, LOL. Yeah, that's an interesting video. Jay and World, didn't Reagan screw up your schools? Yeah, interesting point. Antonio adds, I would be happy to have Sydney Powell and Joe Arpaio secede by themselves. that would be interesting. So let's see. New California State founder and president Paul Preston said Wednesday that in addition to speaking events, members of the convention will pass a number of resolutions as part of our legislative process towards statehood. The organization plans at least 2 more future conventions before achieving its goal, Preston said. So yeah, here we get to Sydney Powell. This month's event is scheduled to feature Sydney Powell. I mean, you guys know about Sydney Powell. She was in Trump's legal team. She's known for telling Fox Business Network, I'm going to release the Kraken. She's also being sued by Dominion for like billions of dollars. With fellow Trump lawyer Rudolph Giuliani, Powell filed a series of unsuccessful legal challenges to election results in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Ms. Powell successfully represented General Michael Flynn in his case with the Department of Justice and is currently leading the investigations into the 2020 presidential elections, the new California state website reads. Joe Arpaio will be there. Here he is. Trump pardoned him. He was found, committing. What was he pardoned for? I believe, was it crimes against humanity or violating human rights? I have done fucked it up. Here it is. All right. The self-described America's toughest sheriff is known for famously investigating former President Barack Obama's birth certificate. Wow. And the sheriff department, under his 24 years of leadership, was known for systemic civil rights abuses. That's what it was. So these folks are coming to this area of the Central Coast. This is not the first time New California State or whatever they're called has done an event like this. They had Candace Owens come out here, and our own here it is, San Luis Obispo County's district attorney Dan Dow was there, and he spoke, and he was buddying up with Candace Owens, and this is his Twitter. He says, "It was great to meet real Candace O, a great American tonight. Wow, she is not afraid to speak the truth." So Dan Dow is a born-again Looney Tune. He, I've done a bunch of videos about him. Go check it out. He was kicked off of a case that his office had against a Black Lives Matter organizer named Tiana Rada. He was kicked off the case for bias. He was openly trying to fundraise off of a case that he was in the middle of trying, and he was basically throwing the book at this young black activist, and then going and palling around with Candace Owens and saying, "Wow, look, she's the future of America. Wow," So he Dan Dow's a character. He also spoke at an event in July of last year, where I believe it was a 4th of July event, where he was basically saying that the SLO County wouldn't respect the lockdown, stay-at-home orders, especially for churches, I believe is what he was referring to. And so that's, so these folks are coming in to to the Central Coast. We're going to have Sydney Powell, Joe Arpaio. Also, if you look back at some of my older videos too, on January 6th, our own local conservative radio host, Andy Caldwell, on January 6th, just so happened to have Joe Arpaio on the air, and they, of course, were blaming Antifa that day. And notice that that's still the excuse about January 6th. Right, the Republicans this week were almost all of them, vast majority of them in the House, voting against the commission to investigate the January 6th insurrection, and they are just denying that it was anything bad. One guy saying it was a protest, so another Republican saying that. I believe saying that the woman who was shot was like assassinated or something like that. So it's a spin, guys. They always have to spin these things. The January 6th was Antifa. Antifa did it, and they're still harping on that. They're still harping on the Dominion software and Hugo Chavez and the USB drive, and the SIM cards and the Dominion machines, and this is just kind of an illustration of how deep that the Republican Party has plunged into the alternate reality that they've created for themselves, essentially. It wasn't always like this. They didn't always, think this way. They used to, long time ago, actually exist in reality. But there were early signs of it. There's a famous quote that comes from the Watergate investigation from the Nixon era. And I believe it was a Republican who said it. But it was, you're entitled to your opinion, sir, but you're not entitled to your own facts, right? So this burrowing into, I believe, was it Robert Anton Wilson who called it a reality tunnel? or it could have been somebody else. When you're caught up in magical thinking, you can create a totally, everything is consistent within this imagined reality you've built for yourself. If you're just constantly burrowing deeper and deeper into your imagined reality, you create this reality tunnel. And so within Trump world, all this stuff just makes sense. And, January 6th was just Antifa, and Trump didn't do anything wrong, and the election was stolen, and Sydney Powell does have a kraken that she's going to release one day, just who knows when. So interesting stuff.